time of the civil rights movement in its heyday, the church was the focal point of entertainment, community services. It fed people. It, uh, it was a place where no matter what walk of life you were from, the church was that melting pot. The church was a voice also in the political world. I think the church has lost its flavor because the church is not as cohesive as it once was. We have moved into an area of social media. We've moved into an area of virtual accoutrements that allow people to be not as connected. The church is not, in this day and time, deemed as a family. The problem is we're divided as a whole. So how do we move from this place of division? We got the mega ministries, and then we got the not so mega ministries. The average church in America, research has shown, is less than 50 members. The average income that a church brings in is less than $50,000. Average. So how can you pay a pastor? How can you staff a church based on $50,000 in today's society? Here's another thing. Our churches have no banks. We have no institutions. During the civil rights movement, segregation was something that we fought not to have, but in many ways, it brought Black people together because you had Black Wall Streets, not just in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but you had about 16 or 17 around the country that had their own banks, own grocery stores, own doctor's offices, own hospitals. They had a functioning community that created a massive amount of wealth. Now, you would think with over 40,000 churches in America that we would at least have a national credit union. We would at least have a Black-owned hospital. We would at least have a Black-owned grocery store. We have nothing. What do we have? We have designer clothes on Sundays. And we have Dooney and Burke purses. We got a Gucci purses, all of that kind of stuff. And we got nice cars, Mercedes Benzes, and all of that, but no real power to change the infrastructure of America. And that's a problem, because until we get back into a place where we have buying power, and then we look at the cohesiveness that Black people had to have during segregation, because you had to spend your money within the Black community. As soon as segregation had ended, the dollar leaves the Black community within hours. The only group of people that the dollar leaves within hours, and we take that dollar and we give it back to the enslaver. It's a mentality and a mindset that has to change. Here's the thing, I think, too, with the Black church today. We have so many egos that we cannot humble ourselves in terms of letting somebody lead that can lead better than us. You know, it's almost as if you're singing on a praise team, but you really can't sing. And somebody comes in that can sing, and you said, oh no, I'm the head of this praise team. And so it really doesn't take off because we have the egotistical barriers that are hurting us. So how do we move forward with the fight of reparations or anything that's going to enhance the Black diaspora? Again, the church is still the strongest institution, even at its weakest point. That is the place on every Sunday morning that the Divine Nine is there, that lawyers, doctors, judges, business people, whether you're rich or you're poor, whether you're sick or you're healed, that's the place that gathers everybody on a Sunday. How do we move back into that place where it's a place of power and influence? How do you have 40,000 churches, Black churches in particularly, and cannot move the voting needle? That means that we're the place of division. It's very divisive within itself. Sometimes we can become our own worst enemy. So it's getting back to the point, into the place where we have togetherness in the Black church and look at the bigger picture. When you look at people like Donald Trump and the insults that he has given to many people that still follow him, they're able to get past all of that because they want the bigger picture. It's a problem when it comes to the Black church. She stepped on my shoe. He didn't look at me the right way. They didn't speak when they came in. I don't like their ideology. They like to speak in tongues. Well, we don't like to speak in tongues. They like to shout. But that has nothing to do when our lives are on the line. So we got to get to this place of togetherness again. I gotta love you because guess what? We're all Black and we're all powerful and we're all important. And it's about saving the next generation, because if we don't do something with this generation, there won't be a foundation of church. There won't be a foundation, that melting pot, that one place that most Black people come together and they commune on a Sunday and have that power base. This is where we have to really put our focus on, is getting back to that place. The average Black household, reports say, has about $2,000 in emergency funds versus the average white household, $12,500. The average net worth of a Black family is about $10,000 compared to $180,000 of a white family. How is that? We allow it. We have to come back together. It's got to be intentional. It got to be intentional. The wealth gap is killing us. And why do people, W.E.B. Du Bois did a study, the Philadelphia Negro, where he knocked on over 5,000 doors. And basically, he talked about when you don't have money, when you've been put at a disadvantage, when you are hungry, when your rights are taken away from you, you have nothing. People steal, people kill. It's to survive. So when we look at why are reparations so important? Reparations are important because it's simply money that our ancestors worked for that's never been paid. Well, they're not living today, the people that did it, but their descendants and direct benefactors are still living today off of the work that our ancestors did to build this country. And if we can give foreign countries billions of dollars to help with a war that we're not even involved in, when we have Black people here that work hard every day and got to work twice as hard, 3 times, 4 times as hard just to have basic necessities, that's a problem to me. That's a problem that we will elect officials that don't deem that important. It's a debt that's never been paid from America. It's a cruel sin that America did to Black people. And then to give 400,000 plus acres, promise 40 acres of a mule and all of that, and then to take it back because, we feel sorry for the slave owners, because what are they going to do now? They don't have people to work for them for free. So, we got to compensate them. We have never been placed in a position of first place position. It's always been secondary. It's up to us. And then the Black church has to take on the responsibility of teaching Black history. We see they're cutting it out in the school system. We see they're cutting it out from the elementary level on up to the college level, HBCUs. He's going to eventually try to abolish HBCUs. And so it's the Black church again that needs to be responsible for curriculum that teaches Black history, teaches our young people who we are. If we don't know who we are, then we can't fight in our full totality. But when we know who we are, when we know how strong we are as a people, what we have done, when we've been set to the back of the line and still made moves and strides that would be considered almost inhuman, the resilience and the strength that we have as a Black people, we must teach this. We must teach our little girls that your hair is beautiful, your skin color is beautiful. We must teach our Black boys that you are Black and you are handsome. You don't have to, we don't have to conform and try to look like white America to be considered acceptable. We got to build our own communities. Forget the Grammys, build our own Grammys. Hello, somebody. Forget dealing with banks that don't give. You can have a 770 credit score and can't get $1,000 loan from Bank of America. It only takes $500,000 for us to start a credit union. $500,000. Where you are an owner of a financial institution. Why don't we have several Black credit unions? It takes $10,000 to $30,000 to start a bank, a national bank. Why don't we have several of those? Within a $14 billion infrastructure of funds that come into the Black church, we just ought to be able to have several banks. We ought to have several hospitals. We ought to have several schools that we do not have to depend on this said government or anybody else, because it's all inclusive in what we already have. Somebody holler, we already got this. We just got to come together and put it together and make it work. So I just want to encourage the Black church that we got to get back to the place of coming together, the old landmark. We got to become family again. And we got to fight this fight together. And if we don't, we're going to lose.